Hey guys, my name is Ryan, and we're back again with another Spirit Island video. Today, we're going to be looking at my favorite spirit from Nature Incarnate, and that is Ember Eyed Behemoth. This is the lowest complexity spirit in the set, but since it uses the Incarna, it's more challenging than initially looks. Just the other day, I put out another video focused on how good all of Behemoth's unique powers are, so if you want to hear more about that, you can check out the link in the description. I'm just going to read through them though, and not give too much commentary, so we can focus on everything Incarna. So we have a fast push power, Blazing Intimidation, cost 2, and we get to push 2 explorers or towns to a land that does not have our Incarna. Exaltation of Grasping Roots, we get to add a wild to one of our lands and target spirit's land targeting someone else. Surging Lahar, 2 damage at range 1 from a sacred site, and then if our presence is present, we also get to add a Badlands. And then Terrifying Rampage is a partial Ravage skip. 2 invaders don't participate in Ravage, so if you have 3 or more, then something will still do damage. Hopefully it's just a single explorer. It's worth noting that we care about just 3 elements, fire, earth, and plant, and only 1 card gives us all 3 of those. We need slightly more on earth than we do on plant, and so we have 2 fire earth cards and 1 single fire plant card. So it's really not that hard to find combinations in order to hit our innates. Pretty much the only bad 2-card combination is Surging Lahar plus Rampage, because then we're missing the single plant. Every other 2-card combination will treat us just fine. But where Behemoth becomes really interesting is going to be with the Incarna. So that's going to be the Incarna, the special rule, and the innate power all work together in synchrony. So this is our little Incarna, the new type of piece that came out in Nature Incarnate. And so because there's a whole bunch of these brand new pieces in the set, obviously there's a whole lot of rules. So let's go straight to the rulebook and see what it has to say. Page 7 in the Nature Incarnate rulebook has the necessary rules for use, and then page 8 has a few FAQs and some strategy tips. An Incarna can act as any and all of the things printed on it at any given time. It can also act as nothing for that action. Behemoth has a very simple Incarna. So on the starting side, it can only be presence and nothing else. That little eye thing is just an identifier, so that way if you have multiple Incarnas in the game, it's very clear and obvious this is Behemoth's Incarna, it is no one else's Incarna. Every Incarna has a unique symbol. So that front side can only be a presence, but the back side can be a single presence or it can be a sacred site. You always start with your Incarna on the unempowered side up first, that is the side without the golden perimeter. So remember, on an action per action basis, we can choose whether or not we want to have this Incarna act as presence. Really, the only time that we would not want to have it act as presence would be during a Ravage. So let's just say we're up here on the board, and I don't know, we have something simple like this, and it comes to a Ravage action, and we would take a Blight. Well, if this was a normal presence, we would have to lose that presence. But we could have this Incarna just not be a presence for that Ravage action, which means that there is no presence in land number 4, and therefore nothing is destroyed when the Blight gets added. Now, alternatively, let's say we had this situation, but we also had a presence in this land. In this situation, if we felt strategically like we wanted to protect this presence, then when we take a Blight, we could have this act as a presence, and that one is the presence that is destroyed per the blighting action. We do have ways to get our Incarna back, but we do not have any ways to get our regular presence back. How do we get our Incarna back? Well, let's take a look at that special rule. The special rule dictates how the Incarna is moved. So, once during the spirit, fast, or slow phase, we can either push our Incarna, or we can add or move our Incarna to any sacred site on the island. So we do start with a sacred site in a wetlands. So if we were to come back to this situation, we could choose to have the Blight come in, have our Incarna die, and then assuming that we did not move our Incarna in either the Spirit phase or in the Fast phase, during the Slow phase, we can simply return this to the board at any of our sacred sites. Now, it also says here that on any turn that we do not use an innate power, we can use this Behemoth Rises one additional time. So, if we have nothing to hit with our Incarna, or strategically we feel like getting an additional movement is necessary, then we can skip our Innate, and we can use our Behemoth Rises 2 times in the same turn, even if it's in 2 different phases. Take note that we are not required to move the Incarna on any turn if we so choose. So we can move it 0, 1, or 2 times per turn, but I think you're going to find that you're going to want to move this guy once per turn every single turn, so we can continuously use our Innate, gain value on the board, while also moving around a whole bunch in order to have good targeting for our Innate, right? Just notice that we can only use our innate power at our Incarna. And there is no range, right? So even if we get some kind of a range boost, it doesn't matter. The target land is the one that the Incarna is in, no matter what. So a really interesting part of Behemoth is its growth options. Before Nature Incarnate came out, the only 2 spirits who could not gain any new cards outside of Reclaim were Thunder Speaker and Lightning. Now, Behemoth can gain a card via the 3rd growth option, but it must also discard a card. So it will have the same hand size by the end of that growth action. Therefore, in a way, it kind of feels similar to Thunder Speaker and Lightning in that you cannot increase your hand size outside of a Reclaim. Now, I should mention that with this discard, you only have to discard a card with a fire element in it. So if you had either no cards in hand or only cards that did not have fire in your hand, you would not have to discard. This is exactly the same as it is with Downpour and their G2, where the discard is part of the resolution of the growth, not a requirement to take that growth option. So if you had no cards in hand, you could execute the discard portion first, then gain a card with a fire, but since you've already discarded nothing, you did your good, honest best to discard, you can keep that card in your hand and you can play it. You are not required to execute these growth options from left to right. You can do as you see fit. So while that is a cute way to avoid the discard, I don't think it's good strategy to intentionally pursue, because then you just only get to play 1 card for the turn, and as we're going to see, we can very easily get ourselves up to higher numbers of card plays, and we have a very efficient gameplay by doing so. So besides that discard portion, the rest of this G3 is pretty standard, right? Just a little bit of everything. So let's take a look at this G2. I was initially kind of confused with the way that this presence here gets added when I first read it. I mean, the second one is a pretty clean add a presence at range 0, but here it is either range 3 when only going to a jungle, or it is a range 0. Okay, so let's just say we're in this situation here, okay, and we want to add this presence. Okay, we can range out into one of these jungles, but we cannot go into this mountains, either of these sands, or this wetlands. The range 3 is only for going to the jungle, otherwise it is simply a range 0 drop, and we'd probably go right here. Our normal G1 reclaim, very, very standard. So the last one we want to take a look at is our G4. We can only use this growth option once in the entire game. And this is how we're going to empower our Incarna, to flip it over. That way the Incarna can act as a sacred site, and it also lets us use our innate power twice every turn for the rest of the game. So literally doubles our damage. Take note that when it is empowered, we can do actions in between the 2 different uses of our innate. We're not required to do them twice in a row in the same land. So we can play other cards, push powers, whatever, We could use our special rule to move our Incarna, so do some damage here, some damage there. You have a lot of choices. Now, this reclaim only reclaims cards with the fire elements. So here we get the discard fires, and here we get fires back. So a little bit of internal synergy is nice to see. This is also the only way for us to get a free Incarna movement. Outside of when we take this growth option, every turn we get one single Incarna movement each turn, unless, like I said, you get to skip our Innate. Don't recommend it though, so realistically, you get one Incarna movement every turn. So, when I was talking about this G2 and adding presence, you might have noticed that, well, in this board situation, it's really hard to get presence onto half of the island. So, I mean, how the heck are we going to do it? Well, for starters, you could just use Grow 3 to add a presence at range 1. So that's one way to go about doing it. And then, add at range 1, add at range 0 afterwards, make a Sacred Site. That's all cool and fun. But a very important trick to use with Behemoth is to recognize that we can use this special rule during the Spirit phase. And we can do so at any time during the Spirit phase. That includes before taking a growth. So, a common trick that I like to use is to move the Incarna in the Spirit phase and then add a presence at range 0. So it's a good way to get around that restriction. Otherwise, without that little trick, it can be incredibly hard for us to get our presence in all of the necessary places. Now, these two lands are sacred sites. We know them, we love them, we're used to them, but this is actually a sacred site too. Since our Incarna can count as a presence, there are now 2 presents in H8, and by definition, that means that it is a sacred site. It does not have to be, this cool thing here to count as a sacred site. We don't need sacred sites all too much, just for Surging Lahar, but it's just a good thing to keep in mind, just in case it's necessary. So enough rules, let's get into our opening. My standard opening with Behemoth is as follows. I find this works against every adversary. So on turn 1, we're going to go for a Growth 2, going top, getting access to that fire. You can drop a Sacred Site into either one of these jungles. We start in a Wetlands, so that's some nice flexibility. You could also do the Incarna trick. Let's say we open up with like a Sands Explorer. You could do something like this. So range 3 into a jungle and range 0 simultaneously, so you could break them up. So anyways, we'll gain some energy, and as long as we play a Fire Earth card, of which we have 3 choices, we will be able to hit our first Innate. Generally, I like to play Surging Lahar. We have all kinds of cool tricks we can do. Let's just say it was this board, right? So it explores here like so. We could Surging Lahar here to kill the town and get a Badlands. And then when this grows, we can use our Innate here to kill that. We have a nice clean board. Or we can, just do it in any other way, right? Like, depending on your board, you're going to have different setups. You're going to have different options available to you. But generally, I find Surging Lahar to be the best turn 1 option. If for some reason things are really free, and I can't think of a situation off the top of my head, but you could also play Exaltation. Getting Wilds out early can snowball an advantage really nicely. If you're able to deny a few explorers, deny the whole chain of custody in the early game when we're at our weakest, can be a really nice thing to have happen too. But 9 times out of 10, I'm playing Surging Lahar. Great, so we do this. On turn 2, I like to go for Growth 3, going across the bottom track. So we'll gain 3 energy. Let's just do it time passes. Yes, we'll gain our 3 energy off of this. Okay, we'll gain 2 for the turn, so I'll be at 5 energy, which is quite a bit to have on turn 2. Then when we gain a minor, we can pick whatever for whatever strategic reasons that we choose, and then we can discard a fire card. So we might just go with this Exaltation. Because we could play these 2 cards here. We could skip a Ravage and then push invaders out from the next card that's coming up. So, if we were sticking with the Sands example, we could skip this Ravage and then, I don't know, maybe mountains came up next, we could push this explorer out fast to deny the build and make it such that there's only one land that we have to interact with next turn. So then we will do all of that. Time passes, and we will be in this situation. So now here, I like to take my G4. So that will empower the Incarna, give it a free movement, and then we get all of our fire cards back. Since it doesn't matter what card I drafted here, because I'll have one card left over. So even if I drafted something without a fire, I'm not going to be restricted. I can get all of my unique powers back. Okay, gain some energy. And then once again, I can go out and play 2 cards. Let's just say I played, I don't know, this and that. Going down to 0. Okay, then on my last, that we turn 4 now, I will go for a G2 once again, going bottom, to power through this dead spot. And then I can play my whole hand. Or sorry, you do the whole time passes thing. Here, gain, pay. Now you'll notice that I gained a 1-cost card here. I did not make any specific maneuvers in order to pay less energy in that opening, right? I didn't have to specifically play this 0 cost because of a downstream decision. I played it the most expensive way I could have, and we have exactly enough energy to pay for everything. There is only one single card that we don't use, right? When we reclaim with one single card in our hand, but then we play 2, go up to 3 card plays, play 3. So we're fully efficient with all of our available card plays, and we have sufficient energy for any combination of cards that we choose to go for, and we are unrestricted on our draft since all minors cost either 0 or 1. Because of the reliability and the flexibility of this opening, I find it to be so good. After we do all the normal stuff here, then time passes. We can do a normal full reclaim to get all of our stuff back, at which point it's now, turn 5, and now we can start playing Spirit Island and start making a lot of creative decisions. From this point here, you could, usually I'll gain a minor here. So if I gain a minor here, put all these in my hand, right? I could play 3 cards. Then on my next turn, it doesn't matter which growth option I do, because I either place presence or I gain a card, lose a card. Either way, I'll wind up with 3 cards in hand, and so bam, I can still play at full efficiency. Oftentimes, I will take this here, gain a major, because now we're talking, what's that, turn 6? So push myself up to 6 energy. By this point, we're going to be late in stage 2, so we're going to want something pretty powerful and punchy. Of course, if things are going great for you, right, you could go all kinds of directions, right? I really never go up to 4 card plays on this guy. So you go like here to pick up that fire element, right? We drafted off element here, and that extra fire will give us our full innate. Maybe we are short on an earth or something, so we could go this direction with it. We got a lot of choices. But just to refresh, we're looking at going G2, G3, G4, G2, G1 is my standard opening. So what role does Behemoth play on the team? And what spirits would he want to pair up with? Behemoth is a pure damage carry spirit who offers little support to other spirits. Now, you do have this power here, which can give another spirit a wilds token, but that's really not going to change the way that any other spirit plays. And really, we're going to be playing this one more for the cost and for the elements, and not necessarily for the text on the card. So, other types of spirits that are similar to Behemoth in that they don't offer support are going to be less exciting ones to play with. So we're looking at, Thunder Speaker and Sharp Fangs, and other spirits of that archetype are ones that we're not going to have too much fun playing alongside with. So what kind of support does Behemoth want to receive? As we saw in that opening, we have a very tight build. We never underplay. we're never short on elements, and we have enough energy to pay for everything. That means we're very reliable without any support at all. If you're in a 3 or more spirit game, you can encourage the other players to invest their support into each other instead of giving you anything, and you will still perform at a very high level. With that being said, the build is quite tight. We only gain 1 new card for the first 4 turns of the game, and that can be very stifling. If we're given even 1 more cheap card, we can consider growing up to 4 card plays on turn 6 after the normal reclaim. Another thing to consider is our energy. We have sufficient energy with that opener to pay for everything, so we don't need energy, but having a little energy to spare is always nice, particularly to help pay for certain events. On turn 5, when we do our G1 reclaim, we will only have 2 energy for the turn. So that's a particularly constrained moment in the build where a little energy can help smooth things out. Really, I find that the best kind of support for Behemoth is that of board control. The core constraint to this spirit's power is the Incarna's slow mobility. In solo, you never really have trouble getting around, but in multiplayer it can be very challenging for us to snowball our advantage to other boards. Therefore, any kind of push powers are great for us. If we never have to skip a usage of our innate for positioning reasons, then we'll be able to maximize our value for the team. Now, bringing the invaders to your Incarna is cool, but bringing the Incarna to the invaders is probably even cooler. So these spirits here all have uniques that allow us to move our Incarna. So Finder and basically all of their powers have the ability to move presence. We got the left innate and all 5 of these cards. Remember, your Incarna can count as presence. Many Minds Move as 1 has Boon of Swarming Bedevilment. Shroud of Silent Mist has Flowing and Silent Forms dart by. Dances Up Earthquakes has Exaltation of Echoed Steps. So these are all great powers to use with Behemoth in order to make sure that the Incarna never has to spend a turn without gaining full value. Now, we also could look at something like Breath of Darkness down your spine. By using Reach from Infinite Darkness, he could technically take your Incarna, and then on the next turn when he grows, he could drop it somewhere, but that's a pretty shitty line. I mean, yeah, I'm mentioning it because it exists, but it's not good. Now, one other thing to consider, and something that I used to get wrong, is that when the Incarna is destroyed, it can no longer act as a presence. I used to think it could. So something like Downpour with this Gift of Abundance could bring a destroyed presence back, but it turns out the Incarna is only an Incarna when it is destroyed, and therefore this Gift of Abundance is not nearly as cool as I thought it was. So how about the invaders? Which ones do we do best against, and which ones do we perform the worst against? As I was talking about in that other video about Behemoth, we're very efficient at dealing with many common early game patterns. And so, that Explorer Town City pattern gives us a very strong matchup into Prussia, and we're going to see that same exact pattern happen all the time with Sweden. Since we're not using nominal defense, all the Sweden extra damage doesn't matter. We're just doing a straight up skip on those buildings, and then they have no inherent defense built in. Also, France will either come up as an Explorer Town City or Explorer Town, and in both of those situations, right, we deal with that very efficiently. For Scotland, we are going to have that efficient solution. The only one that gives us trouble with Scotland is land number 2, because it starts with the double city. So if we were to get it on the very first Explorer of the game, great, we can skip the 2 city parts and the single Explorer, it's all good and fine, but on any other turn, it takes an extra action in order to whittle the land down a little bit. So it's a great matchup for us. It's just not as absolutely perfectly efficient as the other matchups are. England 1 and England 5 makes us slightly less efficient. England 1 with that build, adjacency build, means that our push loses a little bit of value, not a ton, but it can lose a little bit. And then England 5 with the extra health means that our damage is just going to be a lot less effective. Habsburg 4 gives us some interesting challenges. Oftentimes we're going to have too many towns in a land for a clean, skip to solve it for us. Habsburg 6 with that adjacency bonus means that a single explorer is going to blight. Also with the durable lands, the towns are going to be a lot harder to kill. So Habsburg is certainly one of our worst matchups. Habsburg livestock colony, that is. It's not a bad matchup, it's just not absolutely free, like something like Prussia or Sweden might be. In a similar way, Russia gives us a little bit of challenges as well. If we try to play a little bit too aggressive, the fact that a single explorer is going to still blight can give us some trouble. So if it explores initially into that inland town, that starting inland town, then simply killing the buildings or skipping the buildings from ravaging will not solve the problem. And so we have to be a little bit more creative with it. And then last, Habsburg Mining Expedition is a really good matchup, but at level 6, things get slightly trickier just because of the extra explorer can cause some interesting breakpoints. But overall, every single matchup is a good matchup for us. Even something like England, which very well could be our worst matchup, isn't so bad because England's always building everywhere, which means that no matter where we put our Incarna, we will gain value from destroying things. So we'll probably wind up fearing out against England, but we have plenty of food to chew on the whole time. Since Behemoth's primary restriction is the ability to place presence in important locations and to move Incarna into the invaders, it's important to have a good starting board. So we start in the highest numbered wetlands that is adjacent to any jungle. For every board except for F and C, that simply means we go to our high numbered wetlands. F and C are the only two boards where our high wetlands is not adjacent to one of our own jungles. Therefore, in a multiplayer game, it is possible that we would start differently on these two boards. Now, we want to be in a fairly central location such that we can spread out in any direction largely unrestricted. And so for that reason, board A is easily our best board. The only two lands that are not adjacent to our starting position is lands 2 and 3, and since 3 is a jungle, we can easily jump over to there. So the only lands that we're going to have any trouble with at the very beginning of the game is A2, but having 7 out of the 8 lands immediately accessible is as good as it's possibly going to get. Some other highlights to pay attention to, board E sucks pretty hard. With only these two adjacencies. Thankfully, we do have this jungle way out here, and since that's range 3 from our starting, we can compensate by jumping all the way out to it. Board F is pretty sad in solo play, right? These two lands out here are going to be a lot less accessible, particularly the 6. In a multiplayer game, it doesn't really get much better because now this land number 1 is fairly inaccessible, so you'd probably want to dodge this. B is pretty solid since you can jump over to here and then you have good coastal control. C is amazing in solo, but in a multiplayer game, if you get pushed up here to land number 8, you're not going to be having nearly as much fun. Thankfully, if you do get pushed up to land number 8, you do have your jungles are both non-adjacent, so you can jump out to them. Now, the absolute worst board in the game for us is going to be board D. Since we start in a corner and one of our only adjacencies is a jungle, and our other jungle's here, which means that this land number 8 is completely inaccessible to us for the majority of the game. So that's going to be particularly miserable to try and deal with. Boards G and H are both fine for us. Neither of them are particularly exciting, but here we have access to a little bit more than half the board starting, so that's pretty nice. Both of our mountains are pretty rough for us, so that's a bad one to get early. And board H, we have access to almost everything, but we don't have access to the coast very easily. And broadly speaking, the coast is more important than the inlands when trying to gain control of the adversaries. So in short, never play board D, always try and take board A, and everything else has a little bit of play to it, but E is pretty sad, as well as F. All right, so now we're going to be getting into a game. I eliminated our easiest matchups from the possibilities that could come up. I already posted up a game with a good, easy matchup against Prussia, so you can watch the other video if you want to see, a really smooth game as Behemoth. I'm only leaving up England, HLC, and Russia. And we're going to be going at difficulty 9, which is level 5 for all of these adversaries. I am going to remove board D from the pool of possible boards to get, just because it's so bad for us. That's not going to make for a fun video. But let's just get right into it. Okay, so we get Russia 5 on board H. Sweet. Okay. So normally against Russia, it's one of those adversaries you try and create a pocket against pretty quickly. But board H, it's damn near impossible for us to do that. So we'll see what we can do. And we are going to have our opening explorer be in the mountains. Okay. How do we want to play this? So unfortunately, because of this single explorer, like if this was anything besides Russia in this situation, we could do a Surging Lahar to kill this town, come over here, and then Innate kill this town, and then, one single explorer is not going to do anything. And then that clears out our backlands, and, we can hopefully create an advantage from there. But unfortunately, that's not going to work for us here. I still think playing Surging Lahar is going to be the right play, though, just to, start to get ourselves ahead. But I might do my Incarna up here, or, actually, I'm just going to wait until the slow phase, and I'm going to use my Incarna to kill whatever explores. And then we can use this Blazing Intimidation to kick out these guys, pushing them out this way, so that way we can shrink the board a little bit. I think that's going to be the line. We're going to take a blight on land number 3, and then we're going to go from there. So we're going to go top, and since we're not going to commit our Incarna going anywhere yet, we're going to basically just drop them in the same land, range 2 away from our presence, so we're maximizing our reach. Okay, no fast powers, skip the first event. And we build and explore. I really want this to be sands, so that we can cleanly kill all of this. And then in this land, we could use like a Terrifying Rampage to skip the Ravage. And then we'd have a really small board. We'd have a nice pocket going. But alas, we get wetlands. Which actually, you know what? Ain't so bad. In this situation, we have to use Surging Lahar and Innate in the same land, leaving 2 damage effectively wasted. But I think that's fine. So Surging Lahar, and then that'll push out. And then we're going to move our Incarna for the turn into this land number 6. So that way we can kill it come next turn. Time passes. All right, now we're going to gain a minor. Currently planning on playing these 2 cards here. We have nothing to skip with Rampage. So this is our current plan, but let's see what we get. So the only fire card we have access to is Inflame, and we do want to pick up a fire if we want to hit our innates at the highest level possible. However, something worth considering here is this call to isolation. We could use that to kick these 2 explorers out, and then, then we'd have nothing building here, and that would give us an opportunity to get ahead. So if we were to take that and play this, this would be our elemental combination for the turn, and we would have nothing here, which would mean that we get 2 Incarna movements. We can end ourselves into the sands or the mountains. So that's an interesting line to consider. Disease and Strife both are really weak against Russia because strifing off a single, explore town, Strife doesn't do anything. Disease, a single explorer is still going to mess you up pretty bad. So this isn't even that exciting. It's really hard for us to hit the triple animal. We would need to draft another animal. And once again, we really don't get that many drafts. So we're going to take the opportunity here to actually go off element. And it's going to create a bizarre looking couple turns. So get excited. We're going to do some cool stuff. We're going to go here, fear, push these guys in. I already pushed those guys in. Oh, whoops. Okay, invader phase. Add an explorer to a land. No invaders, no Dahan. Guess we go here. Or, actually, sorry, I should read the whole event, because the beast will kill the explorer. So we just get to pick up a free fear and kick him out. And then 3 Dahan among all our lands. We do, so we can use a slow power now instead of later. Unfortunately, we have none. Explore does not affect the coast. Well, we know the next one's either going to be sands or jungles, so we are guaranteed value. That's nice. Ravage, build, exploring the jungles. Cool. For our movements for the turn, where do we want to go? Oh, and I forgot to discard. Yeah, the discard's pretty important. I think we're going to want to... It doesn't really matter where we choose to end up because we're about to use our Empower Reclaim, which will also give us movement. So let's just, I don't know, put ourselves down here. Time passed. Now here's where things get interesting, right? Because we took a non-fire card, still Empowering is still going to be the best play, but we don't get this Call to Isolation back. So in this situation, if we were to go bottom, we don't gain any immediate value. I might choose to go top instead. But we'll see. So we're certainly going to go here first. So that way... Or do we? What if we did something like this turn? Kick these guys over, right? Yeah, it'll ravage, whatever. But then... we get to do all kinds of damage in this land. 2 damage. All right, we could do 2 damage here, and then we would have 4 damage to back it up, and then that would leave just a single explorer behind. That's not bad. Yeah, I think we're gonna do this. So we'll go fear, push. Invader phase event. Let's see, we're on stage 2. Don't ravage. That's fine. There's nothing anyways. 1 damage per beast. That land is empty. Oh, but we get this guy. So, that means we either have to take a build or we have to go here. But actually, taking the build is fine because we have 3 damage. So that's enough to kill Town Explorer. So... we'll go here. Push a Dahan per Badlands Disease. No effect. Okay, Ravage. Build. Explore Sands. Here. And we'll go here with it. All right. Surging Lahar. 2 damage out of Badlands. Then we're going to use our Innate for 3 damage, plus the Badlands is going to hit for 4. 1, 2, 3, fear, push. Okay, then we get to move our Incarna for the turn, right? That was part of the growth. This is our normal once per turn, and we get to do 3 more damage. So that'll go here, fear. I was thinking about doing this, but that's capable of building. Now, if that was not capable of building, since this has disease, that can't explore, which means that we can't get triple stacked accidentally. If we go here, then it will ravage. We do have Blight to spare, but it plays around having that pop up. I think this is better because it's more reliable. So that's what we're going to go with. Okay, we'll do a time passes. Now, in this situation, all of my cards are pretty useless. So I'm going to deviate from the build, and I'm going to swing for a major. And, okay, UG is insane. It's an on-element major with an insane text on it. It's our only fire one, so you could just go strictly on the elements reason and go straight for this UG. We're going to be forgetting Call to Isolation, most likely. What else do we have here? Infestation is very nice, but a skip, not crucial in my opinion. Jungle Hungers is really nice. The jungles are adjacent to everything on this board, so we can, for our presence for the turn, we could do something like this, and then we could target any land on the board with Jungle Hungers. It's pretty easy for us to threshold it too if we ever needed to get rid of that city. We have the plants, we have the moon, we've got it all. But Unrelenting Growth, it's just a little bit too good. If not Unrelenting Growth, certainly would be Jungle Hungers would be the pick. Now I need to decide, do we want to have a UG game as a teaching one or Jungle Hungers? I guess at this point we've already deviated from the norm so much, let's just have some fun with it. Forget this. We're going to discard you, gain energy for the turn, and go right here. Oh, actually, no. Okay, I was thinking about if we had done this instead and we go here, that would give us the 4th fire, but we're short 1 earth. So in that case, it's just better to pick up the extra energy this turn. We'll UG up to this, and then we'll reclaim in a great place. Okay, so fast, we've got nothing. Event on town to a coastal land adjacent to a coastal town. Okay, that can only go right there. Destroy 2. That is fantastic for us. I think this is all one event. So we could kill one, fear push the other. Alright, I got confirmation that that's going to be the way I want it to work. So we get to kill one cleanly, fear push the other. That gives us the fear bomb, which kind of sucks on 3. We got some cool tricks we can do there, actually. But yeah, no, I think we're going to be just fine the way that it is. Okay, then we get to add a Dahan to a land with Dahan, no blight, no disease. All Dahan want their friends to be with them, so let's go right there. 2 fear cards, Terror level 1. Hey, if we remove this Explorer, we don't take a blight. Whoopa! Skip and Explore, that's nice. Okay. Ravage in the jungle, build in the sands, build in the coast, exploring, skipping the low numbered one, and land number 1 is pretty low, so we explore here, here, and no source for this guy. Awesome. Great. So we are going to, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have access to 6 damage here. No way to bump that up with the UG. Wait, but it's 2 iterations of 3 with the Badlands, so we actually do have 8 damage. Cool. So we'll go here, here, fear, push, and then 1 damage, and then the second use gets kill, kill. Okay. Exaltation of Grasping Roots, we get to add Wilds. Wilds is insanely powerful against Russia at closing out the game, so we'll go here, start to lock out the coast. And then with this UG, we're going to add 2 Presence and a Wilds at range 1. Sweet. Time passes. So all we have to do is kill these buildings and we win the game. But there's an opportunity for us to do a cool little learning moment here. So we're going to reclaim and we're going to gain a minor so that we have 6 cards to play. Seer Anger is nice. We always like getting the Badlands. We have plenty of Wilds out here, and we have a way to add Wilds too. So this is always a really nice card for us. Costing 0, it's always really easy to fit in. However, Lure of the Unknown would allow us to... Oh, ha! We already got all of our guys. That's funny. That's not as cool as I thought it could be. Alright, well, I guess it's going to be Seer Anger, because Lure kind of sucks otherwise. So, great, we'll go here. Gain energy. Playing Unrelenting Growth is obviously always really nice. But we're going to do the cool thing with Terrifying Rampage. So by making it such that 2 of these explorers do not participate in Ravage, it means that it will not rush a 3 Ravage. So normally when you're in this situation, this would Ravage for the Sands Ravage and for the Coastal Ravage. But by basically having these 2 not exist during that Ravage, it does not Ravage on the Sands Ravage. It's still Coastal, right? It's still going to do that part, but it will not Ravage for the Sands portion. That will save us some Blight. Still going to go Blighted, but, you know, a little protection is nice. We're a little energy tight, but anyways, we want a Fire Earth. So the only way to do that is to go here in order to get that Fire Earth. Now, with this UG, we can add here, and that'll give us the elements that we want. So actually, we could do this instead. And that is actually quite enticing. I think that's going to be our line. Okay, Terrifying Rampage. Fear, Reminder Token, go here. Invader Phase Event. Explore actions, add an extra Explorer. That's not good. Add a Beast to a land, no buildings, no Blight. We're going to go out here with it because... Oh, we've not seen a Stage 2 jungle. No, that can explore. It would be... this land cannot explore. However, I was planning on cascading this way. A Cascaded Blight against Russia from Ravage will trigger an LC. So this is a land that is the only land that's guaranteed to not explore this next turn that we could add a Beast to. But I'm looking at that. Because there's a Wilds there, it's really well protected. And that's why I like it. No buildings, no Blight. Another option is just to go all the way back here and just double up in this land. However, since we know we're going to be taking an escalation, I would want it in either a mountain or a wetlands. Let's go here. Yeah, there's only a 1 in 3 chance of us going here, so we can drop an Explorer here for escalation and still be A-okay. That's where we're going to go. Gather 1 or 2 to hunt to land without setup symbols. Bring these guys into the game a little bit more. Okay, Fear card. Downgrade a town in a coastal land. It doesn't change anything for us. But that 1 less damage required to clear the land, I don't know, could be helpful. Usually against Russia, it's pretty trash. Sands Ravage. Okay, only 2 explorers here, so no Ravage there. Coast Ravage, we're going to Blight. And we're going to Blight again. All right, Ravage actions do a +2 damage per land. Oh boy, let's get this party rolling. All right, take note, I'm doing the basic thing where you don't have this count as a presence, so we don't have to lose it. Jungle Sands build. And we're going to explore the wetlands. Here, and let's see. We're going to add one here. If we add here, that could hurt us in the Ravage. But I think that's fine. One loss condition is fine. Our game plan is to kill all of this next fast phase, so we can kill all of this now, and we're going to draft a major and hope to deal with that fast. That's my game plan. Oh yeah, because of that, these guys both need an extra one, at which point I'll just add it here. Doesn't change anything. Okay. 1 damage. So adding the wilds there won't change it. We're going to move our Incarna in. UG. We're going to go here. So we get that. We get a fully loaded Innate. It's going to be 12 damage and 2 fear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So our first use is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Second use is going to do that with a little bit of overkill. Seer Anger. We're going to target this land here, get a fear, and then a damage, which will be a fear push. And we'll just stack up this land. It doesn't change the status. It's ravaging no matter what. All right, time passes. All we need to do is kill this one town, and then we win. We do have 2 fear cards, so any kind of a downgrade could win it for us. I think I set ourselves up pretty well in this position. So we're going to go for a major. 1, 2, 3. And what do we get? Oh my gosh. What a winner. Nothing. What the heck? Well, I think no matter what we take, we're just gonna forget it. So we'll go here, and actually we'll discard, and then we have to forget something. We will forget this, we'll forget UG. We've done a pretty good job without it. Grow here, gain energy, and play the grip. Play the indentation, fear, push 2. All right, let's see. We have event, 2 fear cards, all to get rid of a single town. To our level 2, ignore strife, okay? Destroy 2 explorers among lands with beasts. So we can just go here, fear, here. And Dahan defense for 2. Add a strife to something, and we ignore strife, so that's not going to save us. But it gives invaders -1 health. So beast, disease, Dahan. I don't know. Moves an explorer. No! That could have won it for us. All right. That's the only choice for what to remove. Okay, Jungle Sands Ravage. So that'll go here. And here with our first loss condition. That'll go here. And then we build in the wetlands. and we explore these sands wetlands. Boom, 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 boom. Slow phase. We have way more damage than we have the capacity to do anything. So we'll move our Incarna up. Fear. Kill everything. We get to use our Innate again, which is just worth a fear. We get to do 2 damage, though, and add a Badlands, which will win the game. So, not a very clean victory there at the end. That was pretty ugly. We did pull our way through it, though. But as you can see, just having the extra damage on the Explorer can give us a little bit of trouble. And we got ourselves in a position where our Incarna was here in the corner, and there was just nothing that we could do. In hindsight, probably should have moved my Incarna this way and killed that, and then left this open, putting a Sacred Site here, so that way we could jump to the Sacred Site to finish everything off. The way that we did it created unnecessary risk. So I certainly misplayed there at the end with that last little final execution. But I think it's just a demonstration of the inherent problem with the Spirit and the types of things that you'd want to work on when you choose to play him and improve. So I love the Spirit, play him a ton, and there's still plenty of work that I can do to get better as well. Anytime I use UG in a game, I know it's really not an accurate representation of how that Spirit plays in that matchup, but it is always fun. So after I finished that game, I elected to record one more in a much more normal setting. So we're going to be playing that next, but I still think it was good to show off that Russia game because while we did get UG and it was a little bit more ridiculous than we normally can be, we also got to see a lot of the pitfalls in the Spirit. So it was a good demonstration one way and the other. Anyways, enjoy the next video. Alright, so we wound up getting board A, our nicest board, so that's nice. And we got HLC level 5. Cool, let's see what we start with. Wetlands. Oh no. That's dangerous for us. Thankfully, we can just skip this. I mean, typically against HLC, you just, let the first Ravage happen. But, we're going to get the double build here. We're going to get this to come in. We're going to lose the disease. This could be a loss condition, but we can make it a still blight, but not a loss condition with this terrifying rampage. So we've got a little bit of play here. But cool. Let's just get right into it. We're going to open up with going top. Now, since we can actually do a Surgeon Lahar and everything in this land, and we can kill a Town Explorer, so it'll double build and bring this guy in. So it'll Ravage for 6, so we don't actually have to do the Terrifying Rampage to prevent the loss condition. So I am happy with this opener right here. And then in the slow phase, after we do all that, we can, pick up an Explorer. Okay, fast as nothing. Skip the event. Build, double build, gather, and exploring the sands. All right. Cool, so we're going to do 2 damage, add a Badlands, and then we're going to do 2 damage plus 1 from the Badlands, so it'll kill a town and an Explorer. Slow phase, we're going to move the Incarna this way. I think we're going to use just our normal powers to solve the 7, keep our Incarna slightly more central, so that way we're not completely locked out of getting to these mountains. Alright, we'll do our G3. We have no fire cards to choose from at all here, so that's something. Call to Isolation is interesting, because after Town Gather, we can use Call to Isolation to kick everything out of this land. and then just leave a single Explore there. So that's not a bad one. This turn we're probably going to play this. Yeah, we can actually use Blazing Intimidation, kick that out. It'll just gather. We'll be doing 3 damage, which will kill Town Explorer here. Sky Stretches is one of those cards that's just nice to hold on to. But I think we're going to do Call to Isolation since we have a clear and immediate use right here. And we're going to put this guy out here. Okay, Fast Power. Fear. Push. Event. Hardworking Settlers. Hey. Oh, man. I don't actually want either of these. We're going to take the Ravage Skip. We're going to protect that land. So we got the Fear. That's skip up to 1 matching board. So I guess we could just take the Blight and then just lose Invader cards for no reason. Is that even good? I don't like it. Blight. Build. Gather. Like so. And explore the mountains. Alright, so Exaltation we can use to add some wilds. So an interesting thought, actually. If I gather this way, I move my Incarna, 3 damage, kills 2 towns. Now there's no town adjacent to this, and we could push 2... Oh yeah, I forgot to discard from that growth option. We could push these 2 towns this way, and then there would be no towns adjacent to either of these mountains. I think I like that line a little bit better. So yeah, Exaltation here. 3 damage. We're going to kill these 2 towns. If we take that line, we eat this Blight? Maybe. Reclaim all of our fires. Flip, go here. So we can go hit, hit. That's an interesting one. So we're going to play Terrifying Rampage. Skip that land number 4. Okay. No, I need to play Blazing Intimidation to kick that out. So that way this can't gather. We could roll the dice on an event. Any kind of a Defend 2 will solve it. Right, a Strife in a Dahan land will solve it. And so in that case, the best play is probably Surging Lahar here. And next turn we play all 3 of these. I think this is the line. So we'll go Fear, Push. Because I could like kill this, jump over, and do damage here. Does energy replace your most expensive, non-unique power on the same type? Great. Call to Isolation sucks. Yeah, I'll pay an energy to get rid of Call to Isolation. Great. Yeah, I'll pay an energy to get rid of this Call to Isolation. See if we get anything better. Fire Element, Fire Earth Element. This also has a plant on it. Both of them are better. I do like Drought. So next turn we're looking at here, here, and a fire element of any variety will go here. The secondary elements do not matter. Drought is always pretty sweet against Habsburg. Right, now we cleanly solve that land. I say clean like it doesn't add a blight. I'm going to take this dry wood, because that'll give us the ability to, for all these lands, just like hit and explore. It's less risky than drought too. Okay, these goes to hand. These go here. 1 damage in a beast land. Dahan have defend 2. Whopa! Buildings with no Dahan do +1 damage, doesn't matter. The defend 2, thank you very much. Dude town in a land with disease. We are out of disease. Kill you, build you. No gathers all around. Exploring the jungles. And we have to add a town to a land. No blight, no town. Okay. So we have 2 uses of 3 damage. Could use that just to kill everything here. You do have a Surging Lahar. So I'm going to go Surging Lahar. 5, 2 damage. Then we're going to use an Innate to kill everything. Move our Incarna. Innate to kill everything. Underneath this is the Reminder token, which will put a town here. But that's going to happen no matter what. So we might as well prevent a whole build from happening and just be in a stronger position. Time passes. This next turn, we're going to go like so. Gain some energy. Play the grip. And in this specific situation, it would have been nice to have drought just to clean all that up. But we will work with what we got. After the build that will gather. It's worth knowing. For fast powers, Terrifying Rampage, we'll just get some nice Dahan movement. I'm going to put 2 Dahan here, so that way now we have 4 Dahan among other lands. All of the benefits for having presence in lands with Dahan is for 4 fewer. So this gives us the possibility of getting every single Dahan benefit. The other way to go would be to go here, such that we could draft a defend card as a means to deal with this land. And then that is presence. I think I like this a little bit better. It increases the range of options that we can draft into. But, hold on. No, because we're just going to do 2 uses of the Innate. Yeah, we'll go here. This also has the benefit of 2 Dahan kills of light. Okay. Event. Oh. Push to a land without a town. Okay. 1 fear per board with disease. You don't have any. Okay, Dahan modifier, doesn't matter. Move an explorer from an inland land. Cool. Ravage. Build. Gather. Explore. This land is a big deal now. And Habsburg Reminder card. So, has to go there with the city. And we have to go into the unblighted lands. Okay. So now, in the slow phase, we have 2 uses of 4 damage. Both of them give us a fear. So that can pretty cleanly kill all of this. Or we could go here and kill this. We have push 2. We have ravage skip. We have a lot of options to solve that land. So I think go move. And then 2 iterations of damage is the right play. Let's see. That's 4. That's 8. If we had done 9 damage instead, it's 3 for 7. Yeah, that's not going to be any better. Therefore, there's really no amazing use for this card. So we're just going to go 2 fear and kill you. And add some wilds tokens. Jungles and coast are gone. Or I guess we're into stage 3 because we skipped some invader cards. So we don't need to worry about those kinds of considerations. Time passes. Reclaim, gain a minor. We are a little low on energy, so I do like having a 0 cost. And just being able to consolidate some of our problems into a Badlands land does seem pretty enticing to me as well. So I think we're going to go here. Steam Vents is pretty easy for us to threshold, but it costs energy, and we don't have a lot of it. Okay. So in this land, how do we want to play this? Well, the first thing I want to consider is making sure we hit all of our elements. So we have 4 earth elements, and this takes 2 to hit everything. So if we were to do 2 of them now, 2 of them next turn, we can grow into this fire. We'll probably go like G2, like here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It'd be 5 energy. So yeah, we're going to be G3ing actually next turn. Probably getting rid of this dry wood. We could play here. Well, because of these costs, we're probably looking at something like this for this turn. I do want to play Terrifying Rampage, though. So maybe we wind up here. Or here. That's not a bad one. Okay, that's not a bad setup right there. Especially if we get like wetlands to come up. Just gather that out. That's not bad value. I think this is the way we're going to play it. Gosh, but this splinter sucks so bad. I think I want to rampage. No, we'll eat the blight here. Have this die, have this come back, kill everything. So therefore, we will go here. Fear. Push. Playing around the possibility of hitting wetlands. Do I lean into that? Because doing this just plays around going for the jungles. So maybe we do this because this is just obviously like our easiest land to deal with. Invader phase vent. Explore land with the fewest total invaders and Dahan, no source required. Add a disease to a land with 3 or more invaders. Okay. And matching a Ravage card. That's a jungle to a land not matching a Ravage card. Thank you kindly. We'll go here. The disease is about to get consumed, so we don't need to worry about like disease killed Dahan events. Okay, 1 turn too late. 1 damage per Dahan in a chosen land. Ooh. Well, this is going to die and that comes back. Or we could have this die and then this go this way. There's no towns to gather. That's the only thing that's going to gather. So if we deal 2 damage here, that would leave it at 3 health. Dealing 4 damage. So we could go like kill town, shift, kill everything. That gives us a good, that's actually pretty good. Okay, so we'll Ravage here. And we add 1 fear to the pool. That will kill a presence. We build the coast. And explore the Sands Mountains. Oh yeah, and that was supposed to gather. Okay. So now we can deal 4 damage, fear 4 damage, shift our Incarna, fear 4 damage, and that will also push a Dahan. Go right there. Okay. Now for this Gold's Allure, we're going to target here. So we'll go gather, gather, add a strife. Exaltation, we get to add some wilds. We'll go here and here. Time passes. Now, we don't have enough energy to play all of this stuff. If we were to go for a major, right, we could go 1, 2, 3. We can only afford to play a 3-cost major. We're going to be using Terrifying Rampage in this land. That leaves this one single land to deal with. Currently it's a lost condition. That's fine. We can afford it. We can also afford the Blight, so we have no obligation to deal with it. We can hit it with our Incarna twice with the Surging Lahar, do tons of damage, probably clear the whole land, and we'll be A-okay. But I'm just trying to decide. And it's funny, actually, because by adding the Badlands there with this dry wood, we're actually in a perfectly fine position. So after the Ravage, we could go here. We would build this, gather this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14, and it would be 10, 11, 12. Yeah, we could almost clear the whole thing. And actually, we would clear the whole thing with the dry wood, right? So this is enough damage here. If we had the energy, this is enough damage to deal with everything. That tells me we're actually going to gain a minor, and any fire card, any fire card, just gain it, discard it. Instead, we get this. Golly. At which point this is going to get discarded. And we're going to play Favor. Favor, defend. You just defend here, or it doesn't really matter. Get the Ravage skip. Gosh. Oh, that's so sad. Huh. No way. This is so frustrating. Missing out on the fire element. One turn when we really wanted that fire element. We missed out on the fire element earlier too, didn't we? But yeah, when we took the called isolation. Golly, bad. Bad beats. So the Z's Badlands doesn't do anything when we're doing the opposite, but now that means every turn for the rest of the game, we're going to be in the jungles or the wetlands, right? So it gains nothing this turn, gains stuff next turn. I think that's the play. Put a disease in whatever land explores. If it goes jungle, we go here. If it goes wetland, we can go like here, actually even better, here. So gain 3 energy. We can just go bottom track for the fire, and then we're still, doing sufficient damage. But I am going to make a Sacred Site here, because as we move the Incarna this way, we can still jump back. Fear. Skip Ravage. Push. Event. Cultural Asim. Damn. Holy bad beats, Batman. Beast deals 2 damage. No longer a loss condition. 2 to Han, 2 buildings. Nothing. Scapegoats. Killing all the explorers that we just killed. Golly, bad beats all of a sudden. So we're going to Ravage here. Lose the Strife, lose you. That skipped. Sands, Mountains, build. Boom. Boom. Here and here. And exploring the jungle wetlands. Bam, 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 and hello. Slow phase. I'm going to move you in. 2 damage, add a Badlands. And then we have 2 iterations of 4 damage, plus the Badlands is going to be 10 total damage. 2 fear, and then 10 damage. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then over here, we're going to add a Disease and a Badlands. Time passes. Well, against Habsburg, all you have to do is get yourself to Terra level 3, right? There's only 1 city, and no city is going to be built. So from that perspective, like, we're doing just fine. We're going to reclaim, gain a minor. Quicken is a great one for us. Finally, these are all the cards that we're looking for. Quicken is great for us. Rouse sucks in this matchup. Normally it's a great card for us, but it's not good in this matchup. Call to Ferocity is great here. All these are awesome. I'm going to take Quicken, and I'm thinking... my initial thought is to do something like this, and like this. Get the fully loaded Innate. Right, we could come over here, go here, defend all of this, and then we're sitting pretty. Right, we could we'll take a play here. We'll go here with it. Right, nothing to gather here. That will build, and then we can, deal. We can kill all of that. Okay, with our Innate. That's not a bad line. What other option is there? I don't think anything else among these is good. I think we have sufficient fear, so Portents doesn't matter. Yeah, we're probably fine just like this. So we'll move, fear, push, defend 10. Let's see what we get. Event. Reduce defense by 4. No thank you. The defend... Oh shit, I forgot about this. Ooh. Was that supposed to build? I don't believe I had a disease there, so that should have built. Well, that is not good considering every adjacent land is blighted. 4 or fewer to Han. Add a blight to a land without Han. Oh my gosh. Everything is blighted. Let's get ourselves some fear cards. For land not matching a build card. Thank you kindly. Land not matching a build card. So we can save one of these. We're going to save the one that's going to all the blight on it. If we go this direction, then we have no builds to worry about. Ooh, no ability to skip any ravages. This land, if I went this way, we could have skipped this one. All right, that's defended. We take a blight. Okay, build. Build, build, build. Some gathers. Nothing, nothing. And then both of these guys gather. We'll do it like this. And explore the mountain jungles. Okay. Slow phase. We're going to get 2 fear. And we're going to do 12 damage. And the Badlands will let us kill that. And add some wild tokens. Let's lock down these mountains. There is 1 mountains card left in the deck. There's only 1 card left in the deck because we skipped them. Time passes. All we have to do is deal with this city, and we win, pretty much. Almost. We need some more fear, actually. We need 8 fear, 2 of which comes from killing the city. So my first inclination... 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If we just go for a reclaim, we can defend 10 here. That lets us survive. Okay, lets us survive the turn. And if we survive, we make it to slow phase, we move our Incarna here, we do 12 damage, and we win. All I need is this Quicken. And we could afford to play the Terrifying Rampage to skip this Ravage. Let's do that. Let's reclaim, gain a minor. Plan is to play Quicken, Rampage, and Exaltation. If we do that, we're going to be dealing 8 damage, which is enough to kill all that stuff. I think that's fine. Gain, pay. Fear. Get reminder token. We will skip. It's kind of a wash which one we go for, but like Dahan Defend 2 solves this, but doesn't solve that. So that's the way we're going to go. We get a Defend 10 over here. It's Ravaging for 10, so we're doing just fine. We have 3 more power cards in play. We do. We will sacrifice you because we're intending on bringing it back. Do that, Jason the Blight. So you sacrifice 2 presents to not add a Blight. Well, we need to be able to cascade into this or else we perpetually cascade and lose. So we go here, here. Beast Kill Explorers, okay? Coastal Land, get a Dahan. Another interesting line would have been to kick those guys over, but would not have produced enough fear to win. Awesome. Oh, we can gather into a coastal land. No, if we gather this way, it builds a city and we don't win. Therefore, we cannot do that. Okay. So we go Blight, Blight. Lose a Dahan, kill this, go here. Build mountain jungles. We get to gather this way. And explore. Our last card is a mountain wetlands. Slow phase, return our Incarna. And we get to do 2 fear and 8 damage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. A very dramatic finish. Our drafts were trash. We missed several times on some key moments where literally any fire element would have given us a very clean setup. We had a very unfortunate event, a couple of very unfortunate events there, and yet we persevered. So not the Not the cleanest game, considering every land is blighted, but I think it was a really interesting game. We didn't get, a free win by any means, and we found our way through it. So, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and have a great day.